Hello, my name is Lowell Francis, he, him, and you may know me online from our various Open Hearth social media as EDIGE23, as also my handle on Discord. I am the community manager for Open Hearth Gaming Community. I'm also the designer and co-writer of Hearts of Lynn, the RPG. And you may also know me from the Age of Ravens blog or from my Age of Ravens YouTube channel. You can check out things about me, games that I run, things that I've written there. So today I want to talk about what Open Hearth Gaming is, go through what we do, what our history is, if you're interested in us, how you join, how you sign up for games, all of that kind of thing. This is aimed to provide a good primer, I think our British folks would say, for how you join our community and what we're about. So, what is Open Hearth Gaming generally? We are an online gaming community focused on playing TTRPGs and more. Generally, that has focused on story games, but we have a strong OSR component, GM-less games, board games adjacent, and even trad games. I've run in the past Rollmaster the community, which people did not care for, but we've tried lots of different things. All games that are run in our community follow our community code of conduct, and I will have a link to that in the show notes. It's something that we've built up with community feedback over the years. All the games that are run in the community are required to use a layered set of communication and safety tools. Typically, that includes a CATS discussion, content, aim, tone, subject matter. And that's usually done in the setup or in the first session or session zero. That's a good baseline, but at least for me, my default is, and a lot of people use this, is to use a lines and veils tool to allow the X card to mark out problematic content. If a game includes romance as a significant theme, we have a matrix that is used to kind of say, are you interested in romance with NPCs, with PCs, that kind of thing, or not? But the other thing that we always have is something called open door, meaning that if you need to step away from the game for whatever reason, you can do that. Or if you decided that this is not a game for you, you can leave. No harm, no foul. We also run our games open table, meaning that anybody can sign up. You can sign up for a session, you can sign up for multiple sessions. GMs are aware of that, allows people to kind of dip in if they want. Most people will sign up for a full series, but just know that that is a thing that's out there. So, where does Open Hearth Gaming come from? We were previously the Gauntlet Gaming Community, and there was a split a number of years ago between that and what would become Gauntlet Publishing. And I was asked to take over the gaming community side. I'd previously been kind of the RPG manager and co-host on the Gauntlet podcast, and I took over that for a number of years. And then a couple of years ago, there was kind of a mutual decision to spin off Open Hearth because Gauntlet Publishing had grown larger, it had a number of successful projects. And so we rebranded with Open Hearth. And you'll hear me say hearth and hearth a number of different ways throughout this, by the way. And over time, we've moved a lot of the things that we did as our previous incarnation into what we've come to do as Open Hearth. So we have this community, we play games. How can you join up with that? All of the things I'm going to talk about, I will definitely put links in the show notes, but here are the basics. You can go to the community page on Playabl. Playabl is our community's calendar and event managing app that was built within the community and has been used by other groups. And we are moving to take management over of that, but it is a dedicated calendar app really focused on the kinds of things that we do here. When you go to that and find our Open Hearth community page, you can sign up. You can ask to join there. That goes in and we manually confirm those requests, usually within about 24 hours. That's just to do a quick check through, prevent bots and all of that kind of thing. Once you're approved, you can sign up for regular calendar sessions, or if we have an event like Shared Hearth coming up, which is an open gaming weekend, you can sign up for those sessions. Some sessions are on the calendar, but their sign-up window hasn't opened up yet. It will say if when you go to look at a game or a series, it will show when that's going to open. We also have a Discord, and we primarily use that Discord for announcements and discussion of games we're playing or thinking about playing. When someone does post a game on Playabl, it's also cross-posted to our Discord. Also on the Discord, we have two really important channels. The first is game requests, where folks can ask about games they'd like to see run or time slots that they'd like to see games run in. We have a lot of folks that come from different time zones, so it's a useful place to find people who are on your schedule. We also have a looking for players channel where you can recruit for off-calendar games. So we have our own calendar, but if you're looking for other groups and things, you can do that. The only thing we ask is if you're going to be recruiting for people on our Discord, that those sessions that you're doing also follow our community standards and use communication safety tools. The rest of the Discord, we have a lot of different channels. Community members discuss design, games in general, media, and everything in other channels. For general reference, we do have a website, openhearthgaming.com, which is a static relic that people have to keep reminding us to update. But it has the basic info and you can point people to it, and maybe you found your way to us from there. The other important thing is to support everything that we do. We have a Patreon that supports our community projects, our podcast, our conversion of our actual play videos to audio format, all of the website stuff, and the Playabl app, which again is an open use tool for groups. For the Patreon, you can support us at a basic level, but you can now support us at a higher level. What that does is for people who support us at the higher level, they get a smaller 48-hour window when sessions are posted generally that they get to sign up first. But a lot of games are also posted for new players, which ignore that 48-hour window. The Patreon is basically, hey, I like the community, I like the podcast, I like what we're doing, I want to support that. Talk about games. How do you sign up for games on Open Hearth? First, you navigate to our community page on Playabl, and you can click on Calendar at the top. That calendar page, when you first click it, will take you to a list view that is broken down by month. You can display that either as cards or a list of games. Each session of a series is shown there with the title, time, duration, number of related sessions, i.e., going forward, how many sessions are still left in the series, and it also identifies the GM. If you click on that, that will take you through to an event sign-up page. You can also flip through the months, so you can check August, September, October. As of recording right now, I'm sitting here in August. On the calendar page, you can also click on Calendar View, which will show you a block of the month, and it'll show you dots on particular days. Green dots mean that this event still has seats. Red dots means that you can sign up for the wait list. If you're on a desktop or laptop, you can mouse over to see the titles of the events. This view is good if you're going through and saying, okay, what times are more available or less available. In both of those views, you can filter sessions to see which ones have open seats. There's also an events tab when you go to the community page. That is just for special conventions like our Shared Hearth free open online gaming weekend. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. When you go and look at an event, they'll generally be identifying the title of it, the GM. There'll be some talk about what's involved in the session and what's required. One of the things that's really important for us that we stress to all the GMs is that all rules are taught. So we don't expect that if you're joining up for a session that you know the game system. The GM will teach you what you need to know so you can go in and try something out. Another thing that you might find in the description of a particular game is content warnings. This game covers particular topics. Those will also be gone over at the game itself, but it's a good way to kind of look through and make sure that it's a game that fits with what you're interested in or not. Games will also note if they're being recorded or not. That is a marked thing. If a game is being recorded, the GM has identified it as such, and you're not comfortable with it being recorded, you have that option. Even if the GM has indicated they're going to be recording something, They will check in with the players before the actual play starts there in that session 0 or session 1 and say, is everybody comfortable with recording the game? They may ask that in the setup email, and you have the opportunity to say, no, I'm not comfortable being recorded. And generally, we ask that the GMs be cool with that. So don't be afraid of that. If you're not comfortable on camera or you're not comfortable being recorded, that's fine. The other thing that I want to mention with that is you need a mic and you need the ability to go online. A number of people, because they aren't comfortable being shown to other players, will leave their camera off. That's also an option. So when we go to the sessions, you see a session that you want to sign up for. You can click on a session and sign up for that. If a game is in a series, there will be a button that says join all upcoming sessions. If a game is already filled, like all the seats are already filled, your name will go to a wait list. Now, games are usually posted 2 weeks to 2 months out. If a game interests you and fits with your schedule, it's a good idea to sign up for that wait list. People's schedules will change, and we ask our game facilitator to send a contact email about a week before the first session. That will usually remind people that, oh my gosh, I have a game coming up. And there'll be a juggling, and people will suddenly realize that, oh, maybe this doesn't fit with my schedule. People will drop, and then people will move up from the wait list. People sometimes have conflicting schedules, so that happens. And then the wait list will change up. When you sign up, we really encourage you to add that event to your calendar. That gives you a reminder so you have it there so you don't forget about it, especially if you're signing up like 3 or 4 weeks out. We understand that, especially these days, people may have variable schedules, things may change around. We expect that. We're trying to get this set so that we can get games to go off as well as we can with as many people in there. And if people can't make it, that we get more bodies in to fill it out so the GM has enough players. It is okay to sign up for multiple wait lists of games in the same slot. So you have a Tuesday 8 p.m. session. All the games that are in there are filled up, but you sign up for a couple of wait lists. That is absolutely legit. The only thing we ask is that if, let's say, you get into one of those two games, that you try to remember and make sure you go back and drop from the other wait list. Or if your availability changes, you drop from those wait lists to make it easier for GMs to get their games together. I should mention this, all of those sessions that you see there listing there, because of the email that you've registered in, you should see the times and dates of the games there on Playabl in your time. So it should tell you it's at this time. You don't have to convert the time zone or anything like that. Open door. I want to repeat something really important. Open door is a policy that we have. It is a safety tool, communication tool, and just a general play tool. It means that if you don't want to play for whatever reason, you can drop from a game. Signing up for a series is not an absolute commitment. If you play in session 0 and you don't click with the game or the table, it's not what you expect, whatever, you can drop. The only thing we ask is that you message the facilitator to tell them that you won't be returning, drop from the calendar. That way they can get someone else into that seat. You're not required to explain or defend your choices. Just as with any other safety or communication tool, you're welcome to explain it, but you're not required to explain or defend that. And generally, our facilitators understand these things happen and they're not going to hold that against you. So what happens when you sign up? When you sign up for a session, you will get an email confirming that you're registered. Remember that you can sign up for a session even if it is filled, and that puts you on a wait list. If you're on a wait list and somebody drops and you move up to the main event, the system will send you an email. If that happens after the first session of a series, the facilitator will reach out to you to make sure you're still available and then to help you get oriented. So usually about a week before this first session of a game, you've signed up for something. You're like, okay, how is this actually going to work? What's going to happen? I've signed up. I haven't heard anything. Here's the thing. Usually about a week before that first session, for all those players who are on the main list, not the wait list, the facilitator will email you information. They will send you more details on play. a link to the character keeper. They will share gaming materials. They will share you a link to whatever meeting service they're going to use. That will be normally said in the event description, but so you know, but they'll tell you using Zoom or Discord or StreamYard, any of those things. And if you have questions, you can ask them at this point. Right now, Playabl defaults to giving the GMs your email as the contact, so that channel is going to be used. We're hoping in the future to allow some options so that you can be contacted via email or via Discord DM to vary that up. But just know that the email is what we're using for that contact, which means you do want to check your spam filters in case something does go to, especially if someone is sending you links, that can happen from time to time. When we have GMs running longer series, what we call a monthly series, like 4 or 5 sessions, or quarterly, which is what we call a series that runs over 3 months, they'll often set up an additional discussion forum on our Discord. And in that initial email, they'll tell you what that is and where to go to find that. Just so you know, usually players make characters together in that first session, or if there's pre-gens, they pick from those in that first session or session 0. Sometimes the facilitator will ask folks if they have preferences about what playbook or class they want, before that session. But just know that normally you don't have to make up your character ahead of time unless the facilitator specifically asks you to. If they don't say, like, make up your character ahead of time, it's best that you wait until the first session. That way everybody can collaboratively build, can talk about what they're doing, they can make those choices then. What do you expect from play? So you've signed up for a game. What can you expect? The GM has contacted you ahead of time. You go to play. Just know that most of our games use a character keeper of some kind. That's often a Google Sheet, which all the players can see and edit. That's really easy to use, and a lot of people build those for different games. We have a set of resources that are available. If you're playing something online, there's a pretty decent chance, especially if it's an older game, that we have a Google Sheet that's already available for that. The GM will pull that down, will modify it to their setup, and we'll send a link to that. Some of our facilitators do use virtual tabletops or VTTs like Roll20, or they use other tools like Moreau, but they'll usually tell you that in the event description or the event setup so that you have a chance to know what you're getting into, that you get to familiarize yourself with how the tool works, especially if you have certain needs for visuals and so on. At the actual time of the session, you'll jump into whatever service facilitator has set up. In the first session, they will go over the safety and communication tools in play and get to playing. If they are planning on recording, they will confirm again that everyone is cool with that. And if not, they won't record. Even if they do record, we always ask that facilitators confirm at the end of the session that folks are good with it being posted. Or if anything needs to be edited out, if anyone doesn't want it to be posted, it won't be. If you can't make it to a session and or you have to open door, it's really helpful if you can message a facilitator. That way they know that they don't have to wait. And honestly, they don't have to worry about you. If I've been running a series and somebody doesn't show up and they don't contact me, I'm not worried that they've just blown me off. I'm worried that something has happened. So I like to know. And so I don't worry about people. I'm kind of a mother hen in that regard. Game facilitators are usually pretty good about staying in their allotted time. A lot of games run in a 3-hour block or a 4-hour block if you're doing a really long one shot. And just be aware that some game facilitators will use an end of session check-in or a set of debrief tools. Often that is stars and wishes, checking with things that people liked about the session or wishes that they have for what's coming forward in other sessions. So you've joined the community, you've gotten to the calendar, you are there, and maybe you're having trouble getting into sessions. What are your options? One, I really encourage folks to join the wait lists. People do move up from them, especially that week out from a session when people actually take a look at their schedules and realize that they've overcommitted or whatnot. Join those. Often you'll move up from them. Also, There are new players games. People will say, hey, for the first 24 or 48 hours, please only sign up for this if you're new to the community. That's a way that some GMs will do that to try and encourage new players and to get people to try out new things. I also encourage folks to look around and maybe try out games that might be outside their usual field of interest. We have a pretty solid community of players, and you may be surprised about trying something that normally might not be in your wheelhouse. Another option, another resource, as I've mentioned before, is we do have a game request channel on Discord. You can go there and you can say that you're looking for particular games that you're really interested in playing, but it's often even more useful to mention what your availability is. A lot of our game facilitators keep an eye on that channel, and if someone can pitch in, they often will. That's especially true for new community members. And what they can do in that case is, I'm only available on Sunday at 8 a.m. your time. Oh, I can run on that time. GM will set up a session for that, and they can pre-seat those folks who've expressed a particular interest. So there's a good set of communication that goes around there. We have a really generous set of game facilitators who are keeping an eye on that. Let's say that you want to run for Open Hearth, you want to join up, you want to become a volunteer. If you do want to become a game facilitator and add games to our calendar, we call them game creators, you can do that. We do have a couple of requirements. First, we ask that you've played at least a few sessions with us in the community. And we do that for a couple of reasons. First is to make sure that you're aware of and comfortable with our play culture. We want you to give it a try and make sure it works for you. It may not. If it doesn't, if the kind of play way that we play, if the style that we're in is not for you, you've at least had a chance to know that that is something you do or don't want to do. It's also a nice thing in that having played with some people, those people may be more interested when you put sessions on the calendar. They know you, they've enjoyed playing with you. And so when you do post a game, got some people who can vouch for you or know that that is a game that they want to play in. The other requirement is that you are good with following our community code of conduct. You're willing to run sessions with that layered set of safety tools, and you're good with facilitating tables which are open to anyone. Assuming that that's all true, that you've played with us, that you're good with the community ethos and play style, and you're good with running under those sets of safety tools, you can message me about that at Open Hearth Gaming Community at gmail.com, or you can also message me on our Discord or ask about that more generally on our Discord. Now, this is a community. We have a pretty good track record, but I do want to tell people sometimes there are problems. And if you do have issues with fellow players, we do have some procedures and processes in place. Again, it's pretty solid, but issues do happen from time to time. And if you do have problems with a fellow community member, you can message us at Open Hearth Gaming Community, again, all one word, at gmail.com. Things like harassment, abuse, deliberate misgendering, and violations of safety standards, we take those pretty seriously. And violating our community code of conduct can result in suspensions or outright bans. That has happened from time to time. It's not often, but we do take that seriously. So it's important to us that folks take a look at that community code of conduct and make sure that it's something that you agree with and you feel that you can abide by. We also take seriously smaller issues, things that don't rise to the level of bans or suspensions or things like that. These are the kinds of play things that kind of fall into that gray zone. But these are things like players missing sessions where they don't drop or notify the GM, players who interrupt other players consistently, players who aggressively intrude into other players' scenes, things where players don't let another player answer a question before jumping in, or other issues of play style and culture. Tell us. You can contact me. You can write to that Open Hearth email that I mentioned above. If we get repeated reports of these kinds of things, generally what happens is we will check in with that player to make sure they're aware of our play culture and our standards. We'll talk to them about it. And our hope is we can, just say, hey, you need to be aware of these things, and we can help them be better or more aware about them. And if we hear a lot about them, we'll talk with them about ways that they can modify their behavior, a plan for how they can better themselves. And if they can't fix themselves, we'll ask them to step away or we'll put them on a suspension. We've had that a couple of times. Usually, just having a conversation will help us out. In these cases, we do try to work with folks who report issues to protect them and to make sure matters are handled in ways they're comfortable with. We do have a process if you're not comfortable playing with someone, not to the level that they're violating safety or things like that, but you are uncomfortable. We do have some procedures in place for that, both for players and for GMs. So it's worth reaching out. The only way that we know about these things is if people come and talk to us about them. Again, we hold these reports and things in confidence, and we do work to try and make the community better for people. So that's a pretty down note, and I regret that I have to say that. I'm always worried that things are happening and that we're not being informed because people don't want to rock the boat. And, there is that strong culture in TTRPGs of avoiding that missing stair, but we try to solve those problems. So all that being said, what else does the Open Hearth Gaming Community do? We have a yearly Shared Hearth Open Gaming Weekend. This is a free gaming weekend. We usually do it in September, October, or November, and it's a weekend running usually Thursday through Sunday. These events are run with sessions in particular blocks, a volunteer run. We usually open up signups for that a couple of weeks beforehand. It's free. The only thing is that people have to join our community on Playabl to be able to sign up for those. Right now, I'm recording this in mid-August. We have a event happening in the first weekend of October 2025, and a couple of weeks before that, on a Tuesday at noon US Eastern, signups will open up. Also, around the May 4th weekend each year, we do a Star Wars themed weekend where we have a lot of events, people running various Star Wars games in various different systems. We usually have a dozen to a dozen and a half of those on the calendar. This is more of a kind of an add-on bonus that we do. We also do a number of community seminars, workshops, and talks. We had one recently on horror running. We had one before that on running superhero TTRPGs. We've got some other ones that we're looking at doing, talking about running and playing PBTA. And we've also got one that we've been playing around with on modern urban fantasy. So we try and do those and have those available as an event on the calendar. And then we convert those, clean those up into podcast format. We put those out and make them available for anyone. You're probably aware of our podcast feed. First, we have Around the Hearth, which is our feed that covers a number of different series and shows. That includes our Open Hearth TTRPG podcast, where a host talks with two community members. They talk about games they've been playing recently and then drill in to talk about one game that they want to talk about more in detail. We have a different kind of Hex, which is a show that is managed by Ian and Jose, where they talk with someone about player facing issues, about what it's like being a player, about being a better player. We have a new series run by Agatha Chang, which is Fireside Chats with a game designer. We have Roll for Origin, which is a Supers TTRPG history podcast with myself and Jay Brown. And we have more shows that are coming up. We're trying to build that up. We're trying to support people who want to do that. We also have another feed that ties into something that we do in the community with our actual play videos. When people record sessions and post those on YouTube, we ask that they mention that on our Discord. And then each month, Rob Apperzado gathers those together into a monthly presentation of here are all the sessions that were run in our community. It's a nice big set of things of actual plays. But the other thing that happens with that is when people post those YouTube links on our Discord, Rob takes them and puts them on our YouTube page, links to them there, organizes them into playlists. So we've got hundreds and hundreds of actual play videos there. If you're interested in a particular game, it's a great resource to go and look. These are raw and uncut actual plays. So you can see, what a session zero looks like for a game. You can see what the play looks like for it. And if you're interested in a particular game, it's a great way to check things out. Hey, I'm interested in what Star Trek Adventures looks like in play. You can go and look at it there. I'm interested in what Urban Shadows looks like. I'm interested in what Trail of Cthulhu looks like. They're all there available. But the other thing that we do is we have set up so that when we do the feed of those YouTube videos, they go into another channel called Playing at the Hearth, which converts those into just audio format and then puts them up as a podcast. So if you're more interested in just listening to shows than actually sitting down and watching a YouTube video, you can go there. Another thing that we have that is an important feature of the community is we have Open Hearth Gameway. Basically, if you are a person who is considered a marginalized member of the community for whatever reason, self-defined, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, whatever, any of those things, if you've been traditionally from that community, or if you're in a state of financial hardship, if you feel like you can't support us, we have a number of slots that we have set up for people to be at that higher Patreon level to get them greater access without having to pay for that. That is the Open Hearth Gaming Gameway. We have a number of slots that are set aside for that. You can contact us if you're interested in being part of that program. Another thing that we do that I want to mention is at the end of the year, we start in November to get community submissions, audio submissions, where people talk about what their favorite game was in the past year. And we bring all those submissions together into a massive couple-hour podcast that we release just as the new year starts. We spread those out amongst a number of editors to share the pain, and we put that together. And we love this episode. It's a great capper to the year. It's a wonderful way for people to talk about a game that they've enjoyed or an experience that they've had. And if you're interested, go back and look at those episodes that we have, and they are really amazing. They're a great resource to hear people pick a great game and to listen to recommendations. So, really worth checking out. We also have, finally, we do have a Redbubble store. We've bought these lovely logos. We've paid artists and had them commissioned, or we've done them ourselves. And so we've taken those and we have them on a Redbubble store, which has merch for t-shirts and a variety of other things. And we set that at just a very small markup above cost. I'm able to kind of set it at like 5 or 10% what the baseline cost is because we don't see that as a money-making thing, but merely as a way to let people enjoy these things and show their spirit for us. So I will have a link to that also in the show notes. So I've gone over a lot of things in this. If you have questions, you can email us again at Open Hearth Gaming Community, all one word, at gmail.com, or you can join our Discord and ask there. People are always ready to help out, to check in with people. If this has sounded good to you and you're wondering how you can help out, how you can support this, one, you can join us. Come and play with us. Join our Discord, check it out, lurk. If you come and join the Discord and just want to listen to what we're doing, that's as viable as anything else. We'd love to get people to come and play and join the calendar. We've had a lot of people that have come and played with us for a while, and then they've been able to find and develop their own gaming group. I'm always sad to see people go to graduate, but I'm also glad. We just want people to be out there playing TTRPGs. I think it's a dynamite community. I think it's fun. I think it will spoil you for going and playing with rando groups. There's a fair warning that there are a lot of great people in here with a great play culture at a high level. And then you may go, oh, I went and just kind of played at a pickup game at a con, or I ran a pickup game at a con. It wasn't as much fun. So that's just a warning. It is literally a thing that I've heard from people. But yeah, come and join us, play, lurk, listen, whatever. The other way, of course, that you can support us is you can go on to our Patreon and you can support us at whatever level you want. We have different levels of support that give some different benefits. That's a great way to support us financially. It supports us. It supports that Playabl tool that is out there. It supports communities in general. It helps us keep the lights on for everything that we do. And last, we say this with every podcast, but it really does help us if you rate us, if you review us, if you engage with us, if you comment on things, all of those, that increases our visibility across a variety of podcasts. Just getting us those 5 stars is great and really useful. The same thing for YouTube. When you see a YouTube video from us that's out there, then that's a great way to boost that up. Again, it makes us more visible. So I've talked a lot, and I apologize for how long this has been. But again, my name is Lowell. I am the community manager for Open Hearth Gaming. And if you have listened all the way to the end of this, you have my eternal gratitude for making it worth it, because I am almost out of breath at this point. So thank you. And that's been this show.